Hello, hello. All right. So I've been stewing over things the last few days, and one thing that stood out to me is there's a lot of shit coming to the game real soon here. More or less that it's kind of like a card game set or something like that, right? Where it's just boom, you hit a certain date, there is 7 new characters just immediately. Uh, and I was pretty down on them back when they first got revealed. I mean, I didn't necessarily say I was down on them. I just said they wouldn't really be good at endgame. I said that they felt like they were kind of made for newer or mid game players to kind of help them reach the end game and make more farmable paths more appealing. And that statement, the whole like help new players get more farmable paths aspect, is probably still true. But I figured, given you know I've been changing a lot lately. I've been trying to change my view on the game a lot lately. It's been working pretty well. The whole Cheeser Killer ethos, when it's in full swing at full power, is kind of devastating, and it has turned the game on its head for me in a lot of ways. So I figured I would give these characters a second pass, uh, look at them with fresh eyes, and give them a fair stab. And I feel like there might be some fun stuff to talk about here. So, yeah. Hopefully, this will not be too terribly long. Uh, I don't intend for this to just be another kit reading stream, but perhaps it would be good to do it just to refamiliarize. But we can take a much more fine grain comb now. Coliseum has helped to some degree, but actually, I think Coliseum has maybe done a little bit of damage as well because we don't have the fully leveled abilities. There's actually a lot of shit that happens at level 85 that you just don't suspect these characters to have. And then you hit 85 and you're just like, oh, fuck. Asajj is just doing it. So, yeah, let's give it a shot. I already have some tabs pre-open because I think we're going to talk about their prospected teams and try to look ahead. All right, IG90. I am slightly biased in who I am starting with. Some of you may know already. I have pre-Relic 10 Afro. Not necessarily because I think the team will be dope. I am not necessarily suggesting anyone else should do it at all. Please fucking do not. If I try some shit on stream and it happens to look dope and it convinces you at that point to try it, sure. But this is not me vague posting. I do not have anything planned. But me rereading IG90 is what kind of got me to redo the stream because I was like, okay, if IG90 looks kind of fun, then perhaps I was unfair to the era as a whole. So, you figure 9 would be enough? I mean, it probably is. 10 is just a min max for the. It's similar to like an R10 Luthen, but more focused on the tanking side. The lead we can broadly skip, right? Obviously, the lead has been crazy impactful in Coliseum, but I don't think we're gonna be using that thing ever again once Coliseum ends. It had its brief moment to shine. Let it be laid to rest. I mean, I guess I could never say never, right? But yeah, bounty hunters, as we will talk about later are perhaps headed in a different direction. It's not going to be his lead. All right. First unique, Dead or Alive. Start a battle, IG-90 has 100% counter chance. Obviously, we see this a lot in Colosseum. And all Darkside droids have plus 50% crit avoidance. One other reason why I did R10 Aphra was actually the crit avoidance. At R10, she goes up to like 32%. You also slap a crit avoidance arrow. She's, mid 60s. And when you are in 5u5, Darkside Droid and Darkside Scatter allies have a plus 50% crit avoidance. So very quickly, we already have established a baseline that everyone could be at 100% crit avoidance, should you choose to do so. And if you really want to be an asshole, you can put on crit avoidance arrows and you can push 130%, because, just 100% isn't really airtight these days, in a lot of cases. So, immediately we establish the team, unless vulnerable or things like that get involved, or just high baseline CC plus CC up sort of thing happens. This is a team that is comfortable with not being crit. Whenever IG-90 is damaged, she inflicts speed down on a random enemy for 1 turn, and all scatter allies recover 5% health and protection. This I am still broadly disappointed in because he's not a tank. But one of the thoughts that I have is, this is fairly exploitable if we were possibly to find a matchup that does something like applying a lot of dots. Or a lot of AoEs. But also, this is something that we can possibly tap into by undersizing, right? We can try to create scenarios where, by hook or by crook, he's going to be getting damaged pretty often. And so, in a 5-man squad, do I think this clause really does really all that much? Not really. And this is a squad who, still broadly, I think, maybe the droids have a bit of protection or regen. But Aphra especially is kind of a pain in the ass that she's going to be struggling so hard to get back to full banners if we're talking an offense use case. So yeah, really trying to find a way to leverage this clause. It seems very potent to me. The Sword Evasion counter, if Dr. Aphra has less than 50 stacks of Siphon, she gains 200% defense. Again, R10 Aphra, I will also point out, at Relic 8, she has 52% armor. At Relic 10, for whatever reason, she had like 0.6 or 0.7% armor jump. It's the highest armor jump that I have seen on a character. She is what, attack support? I don't know if that's true of all attack supports. I don't even know how many attack supports there are. It's not a category I am very familiar with. I wanted those an easy way to find out. But yeah, she just straight up jumped 0.6% armor. And like, for reference, like a character like Wrecker jumped up, I want to say, 0.3% points of armor. And it was a pretty hardy jump on when she got to the 0.6, especially if we're talking about armor on Aphra, which there's a pretty good chance that we will be. That was another factor in why I went ahead and took the risk or gamble on R10. Yeah, the 32.5% crit avoidance, this armor boost, obviously health and protection on supports for R10 isn't insane. 62, 66, 67, 71. But it's not nothing. She's going to be making a summon. The summon is hopefully going to be doing a lot of tanking. So that's the logic. Again, I am not vague posting. I do not have a secret matchup planned. But I'm just kind of laying things out. And so that defense gain on the R10 also tees up on this. Sorry, I just realized. So yeah. This is only 200% defense while she has 50 stacks of Siphon, right? I always read this as while she has less than 50 Siphon, she gains 200% defense. That's not permanent, right? It'd be kind of fucking crazy to be permanent, but it wouldn't make sense for her to, like, pre-Siphon. I'm just gonna assume that it's just, like, yeah, pre-defense till you get rolling a little bit, and then it falls off. But still, should help in some scenarios. Kind of like a BKM-ish defense bump. Whenever IG-90 recovers health, inflict 3 stacks of dot on the healthiest enemy for 1 turn, limit once per turn. Whenever the hacked Commandoid taunts, he gains 100% bonus protection until taunt expires. If the ally in the leader slot is Dr. Aphra, start a battle, all allies gain 100% bonus protection, and Dr. Aphra steals for 2 turns. Dispellable, preventable, and all that jazz. But it does try to exist. Whenever an ally critically hits an enemy, they gain speed up for 2 turns. Whenever IG-90 resists a debuff, Aphra gains 5 stacks of Siphon. This, I think, is possibly where we start to get a little bit of leverage. The starting 100% bonus protection, teeing up with the Court of Wind Entangle, it does create some possibilities where we could try to create some game states or some matchups where we don't have to worry about protection recovery that much, because broadly we are just trying to maintain the extra shielding that we have. And to some degree, the existing region that we have would actually work to maintain the shielding, right? It's like a weird it's a weird anti-banner tax. It's an attempt, and then, like, I think about this right now, right? Healercrons are actually kind of griefing me to some degree, right? Because I mean, I literally called this ball when the meta started, and then the Attackercron Nation happened, and things kind of faded, but it's broadly kind of true, right? Like, Bad Batch 2 shits on Stranger, cool. But the Healercron makes it a little bit bittersweet, because unless I change my kill order and I actually just don't kill Stranger first, and I just go for the healers first, we're not getting full banners. And that was the ball that I was kind of calling, is for all the insane power that Attackercron had, the locked healing immunity plus any attacks that you take, that's just playing for keeps, right? This actually feels kind of in conversation with that, where, you know, let's just say Bad Batch 2 had this pre-bonus protection. There's a pretty good chance that we will be able to finish with a 65, right? For a team that has sort of shielding. So again, whether we are able to soul search for a use case or not successfully, this creates a sort of niche where if we have some sort of durability to chip, and we can kind of play around that as a part of the mechanic, right? Like, we're not playing to protect a generator or something. We're playing to maintain that shielding, possibly even modding for health if we're not in a scenario where the percent health gets punished. Maybe we mod fully heavy defense, heavy health, try to jack up that bonus protection, not really worry about protection modding at all, and see if we can play around that bonus protection. Or maybe Aphra is different, maybe depending on how well the summon does, could possibly need to be on protection or something if we are in contexts where it's taking a lot of percent health. But yeah, it creates a modding sort of strategy that I think is interesting, or maybe could reward you for really leaning in on trying to avoid taking any banner attacks. Whenever an ally critically hits an enemy, they gain speed up. Notoriously, this is a team that struggles on crit chance as is, for better or worse. I mean, I saw someone on my Discord talking about, you know, oh, if Aphra crits, she gets speed up. That's cool, but like 29.25, even if you are 10, 43.75. I mean, the basic is, oh, this is IG-90. Fuck. Yeah, Aphra's worse. 26%. I was like, why did that jump to 43? That's not what I remember. Yeah, 26%. And again, she is playing a similar job as Luthen. Her stats become the tank stats. I'm not going to be investing crit chance into the budget. I'm sorry. And just to be sure, yeah, special damage on basic as well. Good luck with that, right? Is it cool? Sure. If she happens to RNG one, cool. But broadly, I don't think she's going to be the one who's benefiting from this. And also, I'll point out Dr. Aphra stealths for 2 turns. Okay, cool. But what's the normal play pattern? Dr. Aphra gets 100% turn meter. She does this. Usually she's going to land enough debuffs that she immediately self-cycles. She does this, and then the stealth will be off of her. Now, one thing I do think could possibly be explorable could be that maybe the days of opening this are not going to be as common. If she has stealth, it's entirely possible she'll go first and you'll just drop this shit. You'll try to build up some Siphon and try to get a decent value rogue archaeology off turn 2. I mean, she does get, obviously we Aphra on defense before, she does that move first, and she does get some turn meter off of it that she can kind of upset you. Now, it's RNG. Just kind of the problem. But yeah, right? You got the guaranteed 10% turn meter and possible chance at the second one. It's not the same as opening up with this, of course, but there might be situations where you can take a greedier line. And this is always possible, but again, IG 90 gives her the bonus defense until she cashes this out. If you just slam this, there's a pretty good chance you're going to hit 50 Siphon, and that defense will probably go away immediately, assuming that it goes away when you hit 50. Part of CG's wording really makes it seem like this is something that they have an idea for or have in mind, is don't just go straight for this and then have to wait the 4 turns. Play quote-unquote slow, or at least play differently. And see if that doesn't feel a little bit more interesting to you. Am I crazy that I thought that this move gave the droids turn meter as well? Oh, Dark Side allies gain 10% turn meter. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it does. So it just includes herself. And whenever IG90 resists a debuff, Aphra gains 5/6 Siphon. I mean, maybe we integrate Tenacity into Osmos, try to lean on that. I assume the base is competent. 73% at R10. I don't really know that I see him as an R10 candidate if you really wanted to do it just to fucking try to lean on it. Yeah, the armor doesn't gain that much either. Yeah, I mean, it's cute, but I don't really... I mean, there might be some matchups where it allows her Siphon to go insane, but probably... Seems niche. Keep it in mind, but probably don't build him Tenacity, I would imagine. Probably still build him armor. Because keep in mind, the more armor that we have, the easier that we make it to keep full banners. Does she do the non-team ability for some defense? Yes, she does. A 2-turn style protects better our defense? Yes, it does. I don't know if this team will necessarily be good on defense. I think there's some glaring weaknesses this team still has that makes it fairly unlikely. Especially in current Datacron meta, but we will... I mean, even 626 has droid in it, right? And I don't think the droid stuff presence... I mean, I can re-familiarize, but I really don't think... The droid stuff is more offense related, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think this, like, any of this stuff really helps favor you on defense. It'd be more a set 25 for, like, probably like a support cron type beat. Actually, would it even be support cron? Support cron stealthing him would be kind of unfortunate. Maybe attacker. I'm not sure. CW Omicron's save time. We don't really need to talk about. Whenever March enemy is damaged, all Scoundrel allies and Hacked Commando Droid gain 5% offense, stacking at max 80%, and they recover 5% health. So this Speaking of things that you don't really spot in Coliseum, deal physical damage to all enemies and trigger all stacks of damage every time on all enemies and mark the target enemy for 2 turns, which can't be Vader resisted. The ally in the leader slot is Dr. Aphra. Call all other dark side droid allies to assist, and all allies recover 20% health and protection. Call all other dark side droid allies to assist. Whenever a marked enemy is damaged. So basically, every time that he uses it, it's more or less going to be stacking offense value. And the heal as well. He stacks defense, the commando droid taunts. It's all just a lot of very good stuff for him to be doing. And then, yeah, well, read the payout real quick, but then the basic will also kind of play into that special. Okay, whenever Aphra gains 50 Siphon, we gain IG-90 and Hack Commando Droid gain defense until... and the Hack Commando Droid taunts for 2 turns, then grants 50 Siphon to Dr. Aphra. Until the end of the encounter, Bounty Hunter allies have plus 50% potency and plus 30% offense. So again, I'm gonna kind of assume that the defense is falling off of Aphra, or just kind of like falls off of Aphra and goes to the tank. I mean, can I search like 200? Query Blackboard Siphon greater than or equal to 100. I don't remember what that's for. See, this says applied on counter start. I'd be very curious to see if the defense ends when she hits 50. If she doesn't, that's kind of nuts. I just kind of assumed. Maybe a question for Barb. Because he could directly reveal defense values, so we could see. Yeah, we shall see. Alright. Be gone. Deal physical damage twice to target enemy and inflicting with defense down for 1 turn. If the ally in the leader slot is Aphra, grant and trigger 2 stacks of heal over time to all allies and inflict and trigger 2 stacks of damage over time on the target enemy for 1 turn. If there's an active Hack Commando Droid, it taunts for 1 turn. Yeah, this basic is actually kind of crazy. Like, doesn't do much immediately and not necessarily. But if we're talking like an undersized scenario or something where we can try to ensure that he's getting hit a lot and also getting to counterattack a lot, those dots could stack up quick. I don't know if we're necessarily running Darth Vader in here, but obviously like a choke could try to tee this up a little bit as well. But frankly, I don't even know if Vader dots are... Vader dots are kind of too slow for what this droid is kind of looking to do. We're kind of in the LV or even potentially beyond LV sort of situation. So like every counterattack makes 2 dots, triggers them, you take a turn, you can re-trigger them. I don't know. Alright, you got the 100% counter chance. It's a not nothing. What's the 200 siphon clause? Oh, it's fucking TW shit. Alright. Whatever. I'll worry about what it says for TW when TW gets a fucking board expansion. We're like probably 6 months away from the Yelva GL. 16 size board. I do not take TW Omicron seriously at this point. unless it's tied to a GL or it's tied to a FDC. All right. We could just re-familiarize real quick. Start a battle, Dr. Aphra gains the protection equal to 30% of her potency, combining with once she takes a turn, Darkside Droid, Darkside Scoundrel, Darth Vader, and Chrysanthemum gain defense, offense, and tenacity equal to 30% of potency. We can just do a quick skim to see if there's anything fun to remember. So yeah, if we're having the undersized conversation, she will lose some of that preload. Like if you cut 000, she's going to be in more of like a Queen Amidala type position, which is still not a bad thing, right? And actually, Queen Amidala plays kind of similarly, where she has one button that increases cooldowns and one button that makes a summon. The difference being, though, that Queen Amidala does start with a summon when doing said decision making. We have to make the summon aura increase. Free offense, sure. People have max health, sure. That kind of plays into IG90 shielding a little bit. Means that we can play into it with our modding. Our Darkside ally inflicts a debuff, they need offense for 1 turn. Everything has 5 siphon until the end of the encounter, sure. Darkside ally is a droid. They instead gain 10% offense for 1 turn. Aphra gains 10 siphon. Or Aphra, B21 or 000 inflict a debuff for a critically hit, they gain 10% turn meter. Okay, so that turn meter does not go to IG90. For whatever reason, I didn't think it did, even though I knew that BT1 did, but I didn't remember that it was literally just because it just has no copycats. Fair enough. I guess they don't want it to serve as a pseudo EP lead for Darth Vader choke. That's probably the original reason. It would have been very funny if this man was just counterattacking and gaining insane turn meter ramp, but probably healthy that he is not. I mean, if it falls below 30% health, they're afflicted with exposed and speed down for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. Sure. Talked about the crit avoidance, plus 30 speed as well, which is not shabby. Aphra has plus 50% potency. If we choose not to go on potency mods, that will help. Our Darkside Droid or Scoundrel ally inflicts a debuff and enemy, they gain 10% turn meter limit once per turn. So actually, IG90 will be cycling. Interesting. Now, IG90's special, no, but it does mark, so he's guaranteed to gain TM. And going how it works in Conquests, yeah, the mark cannot be evaded or resisted. Batcher could never. Well, the debuff they have, minus 20% tenacity, oh, sure. Start of F's turn, yeah, we kind of went over that. Hath Commando Droid instead gains 60%? See, back in the day when Commando Droid got made, his damage was just so unimpressive that I kind of forgot this clause existed. But if we were talking about defense, suddenly this clause could maybe matter again. Interesting. While she is active, if BT1 or 000 are allies, they have plus 20% potency and plus 20 speed. Okay, so we are working with plus 50 speed as well as a 10% TM opener if we go for the slow play on Rogue Archaeology. Which I guess normally you hit this shit and then hit this anyway, but again, just re-familiarizing with the tools that we have available. First of all, Darkside Droid ally falls below 50% health, they gain protection up 40% for 2 turns. Sure. First time an onset, Darkside Droid or Scoundrel falls below 20%, they gain DI. Whenever Darkside Droid is defeated, they inflict a dot on all enemies for 2 turns. Inflict an additional damage over time for 2 turns for each relic level that character has. Aphra, non-sub Darkside Droids, Darkside Scoundrels, and Chrysanthemum are immune to ability block and healing immunity. I mean, hey, healing immunity, immune to healing immunity is very in conversation with the current time of the game. This hits very differently now with IG90. This stuff, so if we're talking like a 2-man undersize, right? I can imagine a world where BT1 kind of just gets sacrificed repeatedly. to stack up value. IG90 cashes it in, and then we just try to keep reviving him. Now, the banners on that probably would not be great, and it is worth remembering. I don't. It doesn't specify, but I'm pretty sure they do not revive at like full health of protection, right? I think they are quite low. In fact, I want to say maybe the revive happens first, and then they get 30%. Am I out of line? Revive, recover 30% health of protection. Yeah, I believe I'm right. So yeah, if you end up in a position where that's your strategy, I would definitely be concerned about your banners. Right? You would want to be in a position where you can try to actually get back to at least full health, right? If you're going for a 67 and you get a minus 166, it's still... We still count that, right? That would still be valuable. But you can't bypass Daunt. I don't care. That's not what it's there for. It's there for the dot trigger plus mass assist. The abilities, I don't think there is too much else on here to have to remember, but... That increase from the play 1, inflict doubt for 2 turns, siphon potency, blah blah blah. The bonus damage to target enemy equal to 50% of potency, inflict buff immunity, healing immunity, and stagger on target enemy. That will be good to remember. It's all resistible, though. Accuracy down on target enemy. Darkside allies gain potency up in turn meter. Darkside droids gain crit damage up in offensive for 2 turns. They recover 30% of the protection. Revive a random non-sub Darkside droid ally. BT1 at 000. Oh! Right. Okay, so BT1 is guaranteed to be in the pool. So, like, if IG90 ever got, like, that would also be eligible. Has to be a Darkside droid, though. Okay. Start of battle, there are no Galactic Legend allies, and all allies are Darkside Scoundrels, Darkside Droids, Hersan, or Darth Vader. Summon a hack commando droid. So I wonder if there are worlds where we forego the hacked commando droid. I wonder if there are worlds where we... Because there is some sauce being injected into the squad, but I think there are still some pretty massive holes at the moment. Like, do Darkside droids plus Darkside Scoundrels have access to, like, a team Glunts? Or even, like, a single-person Glunts? I do not believe it's coming from him. Nope. It is not on her. Certainly not on him. Him. I mean, he dispels enemy single targets. Where would it come from? You? Being a Darkside droid? Dispel all debuffs on bounty hunter allies. IG90 is a bounty hunter, I believe, yeah. He's got the lead and all that. But that would not work for Aphra or BT1. Whatever that's worth. This dispels buffs on target enemy. I mean, this would also possibly help try to play for banners. I really kind of assume he's going to be going with Asajj, though. But, yeah, we'll see. Anybody else? Cleansing allies. Like, IG100 is a SEP. His basic does it, but probably only for his SEP allies. Not really, no. How about Scoundrels? Again, looking like a no. I mean, he disposed of himself. I mean, if you ever really wanted, you could go like fucking Zam as a fifth to speed up IG90 to get an IG90 mass off to call people to assist, which would give BT1 some turn meter at minimum. It's not nothing. And if they crit, it would also give you speed up. It's not nothing. Not a barn burner, but it exists. Yeah, I didn't think so. Figured I would check. So, in the past... Oh, wait, Hondo. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, I already know. I don't even need this to load. Hondo is almost assuredly the answer. Website? Do I just have like too many tabs open that I'm getting like fucking DDoS protected? Oh no. Galaxy or Issue.gg has put up its defenses. I'm not allowed in. Hondo being neutral is allowed in, and it's almost certainly the answer here. Let me in. Does his move dispel all debuffs on all mercenary and scoundrel allies? Call target ally to assist, then Hondo assists. Target ally is dark side, they gain 25% crit chance and crit damage for this attack. Yes. Well, I mean, Hondo on Pirates is pretty solid, but the pirate landscape is evolving slightly. It might be a Hondo back to Afra. I assume IG90 is a scoundrel? He is. Afra, IG90, Hondo. Possibly BT1. Okay. If Hondo's untargetable and Afra's in stealth, that does funnel them to hitting IG90. So Hondo doesn't break the checks, but would he get the benefits? If the ally in the leader side is Dr. Afra, at the start of battle, all allies get 100% bonus protection and Dr. Afra steals for 2 turns. This is not factional. This is not even alignment. locked. That's actually a little bit intriguing, is it not? That just says all eyes. And in fact, even the ally critically enemy getting speed up is not factionalized. And in fact, even the offense gate is not factionalized. Huh. What does that mean? I mean, there are things that can also start to happen here, right? Like, whenever an ally critically is an enemy, they gain speed up, is in conversation with Hondo. Right? If we're not undersizing, he just has 25% turn at the start of battle. Or if we're undersized by 1, that's still 75 or 50% preload. Call BT1 to assist. The BT1 crits, gets speed up, plus Terminator for his basic. Doing damage over time, gives him 10% Terminator. Or. I'm a fucking seal, apparently. Or. How do call IG90? IG90 gets Terminator. IG90 do mass. Everybody gets Terminator. Plus speed up. That is the makings of a game plan. Fuck, man. Okay, we might be getting somewhere. Hondo is the key to all of this. Alright, the fires feel ignited. I think this team is kind of clicking into place for me. I don't know what the fuck that means for Pirates. I mean, Nest. Nest does some funny things to Hondo that will not really matter for, would-be counters like SLK, but we're knowing for other squads that perhaps she could go there. But yeah, actually, unironically, this does not sound shabby. This, dare I say it, this team actually sounds kind of fucking fun to play. We will have to figure out where it goes, but frankly, for how the meta is right now, I have no idea what the fuck people are going to be posting. So this is going to be, I think, more of a I will tell you when I see it. I mean, but that's how I've been playing Bad Batch 2, right? And for the broad beat, if I understand their tools and apply them correctly with a well-built team, Bad Batch 2 just tends to kill a lot of stuff. So it's not necessarily problematic that I'm walking out of the stream saying, we are killing X and Y. It's just like, okay, there's some bullshit my opponent posted. Do I think I could 3-man on that? Given the tools at my disposal, yeah, maybe. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Cool. Interesting. These mods will be involved, though. You are a person. 44% is doable. I remember before the stealth buff, you were saying trash for TW. What do you mean by stealth buff? I mean, the problem for TW for Gauntlet guilds is it's a 16 size board and there are 10 GLs plus FDCs plus good Datacrons that is just like I just feel bad for any team that gets printed with the TW Omicron right now. It's just like, man, you are a relic from a bygone age at this point, practically. It's an extra variable to kick in when a DC rolls along. Did an Avarice kit or something get changed recently for the new IG? Not that I remember. I mean, everything that we went through all was familiar to me. Yeah, I was not obviously. I was always pretty disappointed with Hack Commando Droid ever since Afra came out, just because it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make Afra have tons of offense to give over the summon. And then he just did like 10k. And that shit was kind of disappointing to me. But I do have some curious hope on a new life on this droid as the bespoke tank. So we shall see. I will certainly be giving it a shot. Dare I say it, this squad might be able to have a Saw Gerrera plus Luthen-esque feel to it. Not exactly similar, but actually not terribly far off either, in some ways. It's just less, instead of turn 1, hey, shoot that guy, taunt ignoring, bonus turn, cleansing, offense up, 50% offense, doing 600k times 2. It will take a little bit of setup. But, yeah, I think we have a foundation here. I am very curious to see how it will play out. I am actually looking forward to this team. And that was kind of the hope of tonight's stream, is to be able to walk out saying that. I don't know if we'll be saying that for every character, but, I mean, that's kind of what we're here to test. Also, good God, one character took 15 minutes. I don't know. I don't feel so good. I don't know if we're making it through 6. We'll see. There'll always be more days. Although I'm gonna be real with you. 24 hours from now, 2XK will be live with the 1.0 season updated Caitlyn. I would much prefer to be doing that. I mean, maybe we could do a bit of both. We could do some of this before 2XK goes live. If we can't get through them all tonight. But maybe the rest won't be so involved. Let's take a look here. Alright. I was pretty fucking down on this. I wouldn't even say I was down. I just barely even gave them a shot. Yoda and Chewie. The fucking Wookiees. The team who... it's just never... Like, Tarful, the Wookiee Omicron existed back in the days. Like, they kind of had, like... 15th team on a 15th size board energy that, like, during that Datacron run, it worked pretty decently. Past that, nah. They just never been a real squad. So the deck is stacked against them. Frankly, I almost wonder if we should just do Tarful first. In Avarice's case, I remembered a lot of broad beats. Here, no. At the start of battle, all Wookiee ally tanks taunt for 1 turn. All allies gain 20% defense and max health, doubled for Wookiee allies. Whenever a Wookiee ally taunts, all Wookiees gain 10% defense, stacking for the rest of the encounter. Okay, so per tank, you are actually slightly rewarded for tank stacking, I guess. At least initially. Whenever taunt expires, all Wookiees heal health, but not protection. The start of each allied Wookiee's turn, they gain offense equal to 200% of their defense at the end of their turn. The start of battle, if there are no GL enemies, whenever an allied Wookiee is critically hit, they reflect 50% of the damage dealt back onto the attacker. This damage can't defeat enemies. If there were no GL enemies, whenever an allied Wookiee is crit, they reflect 50% back. I wonder if that is pre or post mitigation. If it is post-mitigation, that is a bit brutal. If that's pre-mitigation, that's a little bit fun. Tarful has 30% tenacity and 20 speed. Kind of a placebo unique. Just means, okay, 96% base. 189 plus 20, that's not shabby. Whatever an ally has a buff dispelled, Tarful gains 10% turn meter. Very active. If there are at least 3 Wookiee allies active at the start of battle, if Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca is an ally, Veteran Smuggler Han Solo also gains the effects. I doubt we'll be using that. I'm pretty sure Yoda and Chewie literally says everyone has to be Wookiees. Whenever a Wookiee ally gains health up, all allies recover 50% health and protection and gain advantage for 1 turn. Okay, we've got Bandit Repair present. Whenever a Wookiee ally gains retribution, Wookiee allies inflict damage over time to target enemy for 2 turns. When they use a basic ability, which can't be evaded. Again, we see dots popping up. Whenever an enemy attacks at a turn, all allies gain 25 speed, stacking max 500 for 1 turn. Okay, only for 1 turn. Hi, Momi. Why are they all obsessed with being directly below the camera? Momi. Where's Sweet Boy? He does not tend to mess with electronics as much that I am not too nervous, but Momi. Just don't be rude. I will trust you. Okay, so far, nothing really barn burning. Kind of self-explanatory for why Wookiees never really got played, but a non-existent foundation, right? There's maybe some sauce we could work with here if Yoda does enough. Dispel 2% on all allies and they gain 50% crit damage for 2 turns. Wookiee allies gain potency but tenacity for 2 turns and gain 10% max health stacking for the rest of the encounter. All enemies are inflicted with provoked, which can't be evaded. It is resistible. But potency's okay. Wookiee allies permanently stack defense for the rest of the encounter. Call Wookiee allies to assist and stun target enemy for 1 turn. Ally attackers gain CD up for 2 turns. Ally healers and supports gain speed up for 2 turns. And ally tanks taunt for 2 turns. Kind of like a weird pseudo rally. Was this made pre-fin? I don't think this was. It's very rally-esque. Weird. I guess they just wanted all Wookiee allies to assist, so they kind of took elements of the rally, but made sure it was a mass assist on top. Deal physical damage to target me and dispel to busting them. Wookiee allies gain Death Pen up and defense up for 1 turn and protection up 10% for 2 turns. Death Pen up is only plus 150. It is horrible. I mean, tanks usually have such an abysmal value that at least puts them on par with like agility attackers, but only just barely. It is like you are not some armor pen god with that shit. Do not get it twisted. Okay. So we have stuff like what was it? Where was the turn meter? Whenever an ally has a buff dispelled, Tarful gains 10% turn meter. Okay. Forces my ally at the start of each encounter. Wookiee allies gain foresight for 2 turns. Okay. Should that be dispelled? That is possibly a advantage. If all allies are Wookiees at the start of battle, Wookiee Jedi gain Master's Training until the end of battle. Self-applied. And also assumedly setting up Gungi someday soon. Whenever an enemy attacks an ally at a turn, that ally gains 5% turn meter. Kind of Stranger-esque, not exactly, but it's in the same classification, right? We have an anti-assist semi-specialization. This might be like an anti-QA beat. I don't think QA is particularly happy against heavy defense. Didn't we see a decent amount of health healing as well, that they might be decently content shrugging off POW attempts? Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Frankly, okay. Frankly, also, I mean, do not get it twisted, but Hondo as well does not actually tend to perform all that well against defense, with the exception of like Brutus massive damage. That is another team that heavily features attacking at a turn. I mean, 5% turn meter per attack at a turn is not like earth shattering, right? But just thinking out loud, obviously lots of teams do attack at a turn, so we don't have to sit down and list them all night, but we'll keep it in mind, right? We're right now we're working with a blend of not necessarily anti-dispel, but we are interested in being dispelled. We are interested in being assisted against, and we are trying to hunt for matchups that favor defense stacking. Whenever an ally gains foresight, they gain 10% offense, stacking max 100% until the end of battle, once per turn only, and 5% turn meter. Okay, gain foresight, get turn meter. Have foresight dispelled. I don't know if that also counts foresight being popped as being dispelled. I assume it does not. And whenever foresight expires on an ally, inflict a stack of off balance on a random enemy who didn't already have it for one turn. Resistible. I mean, so we saw dots before. We see off balance now. There's a little bit of percent health damage aspect here. What's up, bud? Wall and Grand Arenas, and if there are no GL enemies, womp womp. Wookiee allies gain 25 speed and 40% crit damage. So Tarful will be fairly brisk here, right? 189 plus, I believe it was 20, right? Plus 20 plus 25, so 189 plus 45. You could certainly do worse. If allies are Wookiees at the start of battle, everyone gets Master Training until the end of battle. The Master Training only doubles on Jedi, right? So it's only 25% if I remember correctly, but it's not nothing. Whenever an ally attacks at a turn, they inflict the target me with a stack of damage over time for one turn. Similar to IG-90, plus we already... Whenever a Wookiee ally gains Retribution, Wookiee allies inflict dot to target enemy for 2 turns when they use a basic ability. So, like a Tarful Mass Assist could possibly cash this in. And then this would double cash it in. So, like a Mass Assist would get you up to possibly 10 dots. But there's no instant trigger mechanics like IG-90 has on both of his abilities. So not as aggressive of a game plan, and of course it's dispellable. But the IG-90 instant trigger is, I think, what makes it hit a little bit different. That feels more like you're actively just like, not quite plague, but almost kind of plague, right? Whenever an ally gains foresight, they also gain retribution. Doesn't that, yeah. So gain foresight, gain retribution, which gives you 2 turns of the dot effect, so that ping-pongs. It's almost like this character is made for that other character. That's crazy. For some, each ally defeats an enemy, inflict all enemies with fear for 1 turn, and allies gain foresight for 1 turn. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. If it happens, it happens. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. The start of each of Yoda and Chewie's turns, inflict all enemies with vulnerable for 1 turn. I think Mace has shown that vulnerable is very underappreciated. And obviously I'm not saying Mace is excellent. But Mace can do some pretty fucked up stuff. Right? Like, if you do Kelleran Backmass on somebody with vulnerable and you get the triple basic, that's just 80% health damage. Off rip. Like, it might as well say quad expose. I know there are any Wookiees that can really cash this in with like a double hitting basic that I can recall. Like, his basic hits 4 times, that would only count as 1 counterattack. But constant vulnerable is interesting. It's also kind of playing into the, because vulnerable limits your attack on a turn. They're really trying to triple down on, like, if they attack on a turn, they are going to do shit damage to you and hurt themselves. That actually also could be in conversation for like a Hondo counter, maybe. But again, let's still getting ahead of ourselves, very much so. Whenever Yoda and Shudi, whenever Chota use a special ability while they have foresight, they trigger all stacks of damage over time on all enemies. Oh. I see. That kind of speaks to them wanting to be lower on the speed order. You are 186, though. You are fairly fast, but that could mean that you just cheat down on stats or whatever have you. And inflict disarm on the target enemy for 2 turns, or until Yoda and Chewie are defeated, and remove it from all enemies. So a possible constant disarm. So if you just da bomb some motherfucker, which I guess if we're talking about Hondo, they will not be doing that to Vayne. At all. Period. So figure it out some other way if you even can. You better just start stacking up that defense, I guess. Yeah, good fucking luck with that. Probably not going to be Pyro King Hondo counter. Unless? But no, probably. Unless they're silly enough to not pose Vayne, and then who the fuck knows. But yeah. I mean, this starts to make more sense as like, okay, play for the dot game plan. I mean, we'll see how D to O can also possibly work. Like we see other like offense stacking. I don't know. Maybe Wookiees can also like play for a extra damage dealer game plan on top. Obviously, like Chewbacca's in the pool and can assist on the guard target, and like Tarful guard would be a fair amount of assist. But again, that is percentile damage broadly. I have never really known Chewbacca to be a heavy damage dealer himself. Maybe this would try to change that. Force Awakens dispel all boss on all enemies and deal special damage to them and distract target me for 1 turn. Just to refresh. Oh, I thought this was distract. What's distract? Distracted can't gain bonus Terminator. Tarful was the ally on the leader side at the start of battle. Yoda and Chewie assist, dealing 55% less damage, and all Wookiees gain an advantage for 2 turns. The advantage will help to a degree. Yoda and Chewie assist. Is this just saying that he attacks again, more or less? Alright, and he's a special damage dealer. His crit chance? S. How's the damage ratio? Not insane. This is like vaguely 30%. This would not be too terrible, maybe. Workable. All Wookiee allies recover 20% health protection and gain foresight for 2 turns. We are very much in the market for foresight, huh? Tarful was the ally on the leader side of the start of battle. All Wookiee support allies gain a frenzy for 1 turn. Which I assume will kind of work like Morgan, where it applies and also just insta-procs. All Wookiee support allies. Party of 2. Tarful will take a turn. You could have just said that. Maybe Gungi will be a support. Who knows? Okay. Basic. Deal special damage to target me 3 times, and you didn't gain speed for 1 turn. So he's got the speed up plus this as well. Deal special damage to target me 3 times. Yeah, it just says deal damage, whatever they use a basic ability. It doesn't say per instance of damage. So the 3-hit basic does not really do too much here. CG made some offhand comment about like trying to be like anti-Gungan generator or some shit like that, right? Yeah, I don't really know if I would consider this team to be anti-Gungan. I mean, they do assist a decent amount, I guess, but I mean, its true damage, its death marker are all things that I don't think the Wookiees particularly love. I would not think so. I don't know. I don't hate what I'm seeing here. Throwing his retribution and taunts for one turn at the start of battle, at the start of his turn, and whenever he loses retribution or taunt, whenever he attacks at a turn, inflict a stack of damage over time for 2 turns on all enemies. I mean, we see some interplay there, right? Which can't be evaded or resisted. Enemies can't gain defensive or stealth. I mean, the tenacity down is kind of in conversation, right? Could help out with the damage over times. And we get Dispel, sure, never hurts. It's extra % health, which runs in line with the damage over time game plan. Plus, Chewbacca doesn't really have a home right now. He's very squishy, as I recall. This man is Relic 8, and he has 47% armor. Good God, and his bulk is kind of shit. This is like practically Jedi Knight Revan tier bad. 65, 61, 48% armor. Holy shit. And yet he will probably be obligated to try to build around defense anyway, and to try to maximize the defense stack, to try to not lose his fucking life. Yeah, I mean, Chewbacca guard on Tarful sounds pretty natural. Tarful being immune to daze would be lovely. Yeah, it's more incidental. I'm never necessarily building for that. Okay. What about undersizing? What about just like Tarful, Yoda, and Chewie plus Zaalbar? With Vandor modded to get guard first, but guard doesn't count as a buff. So what's the Aang? Because Vandor gets taunt. So obviously for undersizing, you have less people assisting, possibly making dots, but frankly, this might be a situation where we just try to put Zaalbar in a spot to go nuts. And then let him do as such until as spoken or given. We have some amount of protection regen, but how much? 100% of 4-turn cooldown. Not very much. Whenever Wookiee ally gains health up, this just feels like a Clone Wars Chewbacca shout. I could feel it coming already. It is on Tarful, or is it just the mention? Hold up, please God, for the one time. Nope, it is only for Clone Wars Chewbacca, as advertised. Alright, so Clone Wars Chewbacca, possibly. But even if you have a 20% on a 4-tone cooldown, and I assume he is probably like a... I was going to say I assume he's a 3, but he is old enough that it might be like a 4. But I think it's not on the taunt move, right? So, possibly not. Yeah. I mean, okay, but the fact that it's at 55%, can't they just give him, like, the Stormtrooper Han? Okay, they don't want, like, Wookiee Mass Assist guaranteed removing 50% Terminator, I guess. That's actually kind of a fucked up sentence if it didn't say 55% chance. I mean, obviously there was the meme Lightspeed token recently, or Lightspeed bundle. See, the problem is I don't think we want multiple tanks. I think we very much want to funnel all of the hits onto Zalbar. His base tenacity is unfortunately not excellent. Tarful gets his tenacity, but nobody else. I mean, doesn't Master Training provide some... That will help. Yeah, I can see Zalbar being on like a tenacity hybrid build. Or frankly, we could even, like, if the need calls for it, I'll fucking make Zalbar weakest. I don't give a shit. I'll both of her defense and tenacity. Because I think this squad is very, very interested in having Zalbar permataunt and be countering his ass off. That very much seems to be the thing. Right? Inflict a stack of damage over time for 2 turns on all enemies. All. Which can't be resisted. The man wants to get whacked. And he wants to be able to whack back. And he wants to be able to take the hits. And he wants to build a stacking defense. If the use case arrives, I hate to fucking say it, but his R10 might make sense. Obviously, he is a tank. He is a very successful tank. This is a pretty fucking good tank unique. R10 on tanks is quite solid. It would give him crit avoidance, which would feed it with the unique, which would open up the crit avoidance arrow angle. The armor gain, I assume, is not excellent. What? 60.7. 60 what? What? The man just gets almost a full pip of armor? For reasons? Fuck, dude. The problem is, he stacks so... There's no way that R10 is actually gonna make sense on him, right? The motherfucker is gonna slam himself to defense cap very aggressively. Well, mostly. But pretty much. But even if it wasn't for the defense, like... What, 9105 versus R9? 81, 92. 9k health, 13k protection is not bad. What this is it's the fucking Zalbar show. Zalbar somehow weirdly high in demand. Like, A, because of the Zori shit with the Karth lead anti-Zori counter, which I think could also probably be undersized, and then B, like, this is basically a Zalbar builder end. This man is, like, terrified of buff immunity. That is, like, the worst thing that could happen to the squad. Buff immunity or isolate, that sort of thing. Zeppo's always liked high relics for sure. It's just, like, Zalbar's use has almost always been for, like, he trips up, like, a counter where, like, someone notches below half and he pops taunt, and that's, like, enough to just derail the counter. I have never held hatred for Zalbar, but there has just never really been a context where he was the guy. And this feels like the first stab at trying to give a team to tee this up. And it actually might kind of succeed, to be honest. Like, I'm open to it, man. Tenacity plus defense, so as for Zalbar, then, I mean, depending on if we want guard Zalbar or not. And if you did R10 Zalbar, that would make not getting guard on, or getting guard on him kind of a nightmare? Well, kind of not, right? It's what? He's fucking 195k. Zalbar's only tank limits options. Why? That does not make sense. The entire game plan of the team is, boy fucking howdy, I sure hope they hit my Zalbar a bunch. Running extra tanks? Like, the only reason it would ever maybe make sense to me would be if you expected Zalbar to die and wanted Vandor to revive him. But then Vandor would be taunting immediately, so you would then have to fear for, like, if we're talking like a fucking cat nuke, there's a 50-50 chance that cat would just nuke your Vandor instead. And like, what are we doing in that scenario, right? It just doesn't work. Yeah, this is the Zalbar show. This is 100% the Zalbar show. I think running other tanks is not necessarily sacrilege. Obviously, if you saw Clone Wars, Chewie would maybe help get back to full banners. It only leaves Veteran and Scipio's 5th. Chewbacca also exists. What? Like, you could easily just run these two and be perfectly happy. If you really wanted, and frankly, I don't know that I really care about them. I don't think they had that much. I mean, Chewbacca, yes. But Scipio, I could take it or leave it. Scipio's utility would mostly just be this move, plus the blinded can't attack on a turn. But we kind of want them to attack on a turn, right? We have the fucking... vulnerable. Wait, is it vulnerable or is it provoked? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's provoked. Oh no, it is vulnerable, but it is provoked. Weird. I actually misread that and misspoke about it, but it's still actually just true. Okay. That's funny. Whoopsie. Yeah, like, if in the future the final squad became, like, Chewbacca plus Gungi, I think that's perfectly fine. That just sounds alright to me. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I actually kind of take this team seriously. I think I will, like, build them and mod them and have them ready to go. I feel like I have a clear picture of what they're looking to do, and there will be cases where they could make sense to use and potentially even undersize. Getting full protection banners will be the harder part, I guess, and that will kind of determine their fate, I think. But I mean, if we can put them in positions where it's just Zalbar solo attacking that shit out, I feel like it'll be alright. Man, like, Chewbacca Guard would make it really nice for, like, helping heal his protection, but at the same time, you just get so much less value. Oh, wait, Chewbacca doesn't assist on counterattacks, right? Right? No, I don't think so. It'd be during the turn, yes. I wish this was not locked to Clone Wars Chewie. Yeah, the team will have some struggles with patching back up to full banners. If they're dealing with a lot of AoE damage. If they're dealing with just Zalbar getting whacked, you might be able to just take so little damage that it might not be the end of the world anyway. That's all TW. There's nothing like here, right? But we know he does recover protection. So to each of his turns, it recovers protection for your stack of damage over time on enemies. Boy, do I have some good news for you. I'm gonna remember having a fairly fast Zalbar in some context back in the day to try to cash in value on this. So he can regen fairly easily. Chewbacca and Tarvel could regen kind of easily. It's really just Yoda and Chewie who could not. Weird. Wasn't there some shit on Mission counting as a... No, she counted as a Jedi. She doesn't count as a Wookiee. Yeah. Alright. I mean, this... Yeah, Rebel allies recover 50% protection. That shit is not... Yeah, like, maybe you would reach for Chewpio for this, but whatever. I won't lie. Is it what I'm hoping for? Not really. But if Gungi comes to the game, I will at least perk up and be interested now. Do we even bother reading Stormtrooper Luke lead? I'm going to be honest with you, I would be fucking shocked if I walked out tonight still being confident in this. I don't know, I said still being confident. There is no still. I still have zero confidence in this. So about Rebels gain 10% chance, damage, defense, held, protection if Leia and Stormtrooper are present. These, so 30% of combat stats. While a Rebel ally has more than 50% health, they have 100% defense, and whenever they use an ability on their turn, they expose target me for 1 turn. The fact that it is on their turn instead of on mass still makes it kind of below what the Rebels that we're used to, but you get a little bit of flavor. While a Rebel ally has less than 50% health, they gain 50% offense. While a rebel ally is stealth, they have 20% death pen. I assume none of them have good death pen values. I feel like Princess Leia is probably agility. Yes, she is. I mean, she's an older unit, so she's an agility with 224, but it's still on the lower end. Kind of a nothing burger. If stealth or taunt is dispelled from a rebel ally, they gain defense up and foresight for 1 turn. Rebel ally removes turn meter from an enemy, distract that enemy for 1 turn. Rebel ally removes turn meter from enemy, distract that enemy for 1 turn. It's resistible. Okay, that's a sneaky clause. So this is basically saying when you make Stormtrooper Han have 100% odds, it would just be like anytime you touch the man, you lose turn meter and immediately potentially get dazed. Can't assist, but you can't gain turn meter. That's sneaky, but I am still not remotely sold. While in Grand Arenas, there is an allied Leia Han and no enemy GLs. Whenever stealth is dispelled from a rebel ally, reduce the cooldown of their abilities by 1. While stealth, Princess Leia ignores the targeted enemy's protection. Whenever a rebel ally scores a critical hit against an enemy, the enemy loses 10% turn meter. Problem is, the only rebel that I would really fucking want reduced cooldowns on is Old Ben, Stormtrooper Han. I don't really give a fuck about Princess Leia's stealth cooldown. I guess maybe you would like it for Stormtrooper Luke, but... yeah, Stormtrooper Han I would want to taunt more often. Old Ben I would want to mind trick more often and taunt more often. Whenever an enemy is distracted, they are also ability blocked for 1 turn. Okay, that's also kind of... so CG is really just trying to play up the feeling of what it was like back in the day, where, like, if Stormtrooper Han got taunt off, it was kind of checkmate. Although the crazy thing is, no, it's not even, like, his taunt is turn meter gain. What we are talking about is his unique. And that does not require taunts. Has a 25% chance to remove 30% turn meter from each enemy at the start of each of his turns. In addition, he recovers 5% protection and has a 25% chance to remove 10% turn meter from each enemy when he is damaged. So if this is made to be 100% chance... I mean, how's his potency? 26%. It's abysmal dog shit. But I mean... that's kind of fucked. Actually. Is that not? A 100% chance to remove 10% turn meter from each enemy when he is damaged. So 1 person hits him once. Let's say it's not even targeting him. Let's say it's an AoE. If you do the fucking thing that says he has guaranteed odds, 5 turn cooldown. If Princess Leia and Stormtrooper Han are allies, their chance effects are increased to 100% for 2 turns. So it's a 5 turn cooldown, so you couldn't do this permanently, for what that's worth. But it is for 2 of their turns, I would assume. So a Stormtrooper Han could just park that shit. Do multiple instances of damage also affect this? I would fucking think so, because it's proccing at the same rate that his protection regen procs. I had an inkling, because even the small amount of credit that I gave Stormtrooper Luke, I was like talking on the event server last week. It was just like the only thing that I really took away from him originally was the Stormtrooper Han chance effects increase to 100%. But I never actually sat with the ramifications of it. Because, right, the one thing that we always bitch and moaned about back in the day is, oh, well, you get the turn meter gains when his taunt is active, but even if you gave him, like, tank tech, if the one taunt gets dispelled, you don't get turn meter. This just says, who gives a fuck? Are you gaining turn meter? No. Are they gaining turn meter? Also no, coincidentally. Fucking grab a beer, party up. Whenever an enemy is distracted, they are also ability blocked for 1 turn. Whenever a rebel ally is dazed or stunned, dispel that effect. Distract and inflict protection disruption for 1 turn on the enemy, which can't be evaded or resisted. Okay, we are in a post-Rex Kron Luminara Kron world. Access and protection disruption, unresistible. It is dispellable, is like a difference, but... While in Grand Arenas, and there was an allied Princess Leia, Stormtrooper Han, and no enemy GLs. She's fast, I recall. 194. This is literally just a fucking race to pop this shit off ASAP. This is just, if you can hit this shit, checkmate. I mean, matchup mechanics depending, right? There are some teams that can't lose turn meter or fucking blah blah blah. You would have to pick the right place. But if you pick the right place, folks. My desk is a BC highway today, apparently. While another ally has protection, Stormtrooper Luke can't be defeated. That is a random thing to just... That is a crazy thing to just randomly toss out. What? Are you seeing this shit? You don't even have to take a turn. They just did the damn thing. Are these guys stupid? They might be out of their minds. Lucas active, he gains 50% evasion, increased by 5% stacking, max 50% each time a rebel ally attacks out of turn. Tank allies gain 100% defense, increased by 5%, stacking a max 450% each time they take damage. Okay, Stormtrooper Han slams his face into the defense cap. Alright, you be gone. Attacker allies gain 50% crit damage and offense, stacking increased by 1%, max 135% each time they score a critical hit against an enemy. I mean, it's just GG, is it not? What the fuck? They just said the quiet part out loud. As a vision counter, all rebel tank allies stealth for 1 turn, and all other rebel allies stealth for 1 turn. Fucking turn 1, they dare to touch Stormtrooper Han, get zapped, immediate, can't gain turn meter, and ability block. Or if you're feeling frisky, you could pose it in Leia. I assume he does the Master Sister in one, which we should talk about in its own right. But also, if you got to this shit in Leia, that would also be kind of belligerent. Although you would not get the distracted, and you would not get the ability block, right? It's not as insane, but it's still not a bad thing. You've seen multiple people not taking Luke past air level 60 for that ability to see if they can run him with Leia. Why? I don't understand the logic. Oh, is this a stupid fucking worrying about Leia taunting thing? Grow up. That's not gonna happen. It's okay for Leia to taunt, in my opinion. There's a lot of teams these days who dispel whether they mean to or not. That shit will just happen. It will be okay. Hey, they want to try running under level just to avoid her taunting? I wish you the best of luck. Yeah, I mean, when I went into the stream, I largely just viewed Stormtrooper Luke as like possibly a Leia defense lifter. Broadly, I assume because of this move, it would just be like, okay, he's a 194. Plus, I think Leia like is 40, so he's a 234, and he calls everyone to assist. I assume he does this first turn, and that's like a different sort of tempo than Leia usually works at, right? Leia on defense is kind of just OB cracks and fucking. That's kind of just it. This gives Leia a little bit more of a aggressive slant while also kind of shifting Leia towards needing to be more durable herself and do some actual tanking for once in her life. Who would have thought 4-Lum and Zuckuss would have been needed for Asajj? I'm gonna be real with you, man. When I read the kits, the only thing we were saying is that these kits are so fucking bad that they have to be teeing up something. It's the only way they make sense. When you said who would have thought, the answer is me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people in this chat. Because the answer was literally everyone, at least in my circles. They were just, yeah, there was no way. They had to have been teeing something up. Mace, whether or not he's a bad release, I think he's like one of the weaker legendaries to ever release relative to his time period. But I still wouldn't really actively call him bad. 4-Lum and Zuckuss were actively bad. They were very clearly teeing some shit up. All right, that's a lot. Now, would they be able to get good banners though? I mean, he's got this. It would just be whenever he casts on a 5-turn cooldown, 50% protection regen. Whenever Rebel ally scores a critical hit, they recover 2% health and protection. I assume Luke will not be doing that often, though. Deal special damage. Special critical chance. 17%. Control of vulnerable. It does exist. I remember from Coliseum now. Stormtrooper Luke might be hard to get back. Leia, I imagine, will do it pretty readily. Stormtrooper Han, his unique is just a bunch of protection regen. Might not be actually that easy to get him back to full protection, though. I don't know if this will be an easy 67, depending on the matchup, I guess. I mean, but fucking depending, man. Look, man, if they're just on permanent auto basic, maybe it wouldn't be that bad at all. And worst case scenario, I'm sure we could probably just draft someone to make it a 66. Can we? I don't think he really does. He gets protection up, but... Yeah, but Leia doesn't heal a squad. It would only be for herself, so it's still enough to, like... Right. If Leia has full protection and nobody else does, that's a 65, so functionally useless. It needs more. What does this need? We have 2 assist calls, but I don't know that we really have a foundation for like a Kyle Katarn draft. I don't think they're Rebel fighters. Leia, not a rebel. Not a rebel. Not a rebel. Yeah. Sorry, not a rebel fighter, to be clear. There's no fucking way Dragon ends up here, but just to humor it, he would probably satisfy that condition. All as with Keen strategy, recover 20% protection, would build up over time. Recover additional 30%, yep. He can recover some of his own. I mean, CLS would not be bad here, actually. Not really for bad repair reasons. Captain Oz protection recovery. You're actually not wrong. He actually might hit. Though I think I remember it being like a 10-turn cooldown that cycles based on being debuffed, and that really might not be getting done to us that much. Yeah, 10-turn cooldown, reduced by 1 whenever an ally suffers a debuff. I mean, if we're fighting a team that has a lot of debuffs on basic, it actually isn't that terrible. 20% protection. Yeah, I kind of just wish it would just happen more often. Not a terrible shout, but might not, it would be a matchup call, right? There could be a matchup where they're just like, a fucking Debo's on base, I got the ass. And then he would feel pretty good there. And actually be a pretty decent shout. But I think by default, this would actually feel kind of awful if they're just like auto basic and you just get this once every 10 turns. It's possible. We'll have to keep it in mind. Can I just do like ability classes? Not heal? What tags does he have? They use the Spokane Terminator Revive? Holy shit. Alright, there's no tag for it. Or at least, not on him. How about a Radis? But the problem is heal might also encompass the ults, which just steals everything. Like, I don't know if heal counts for... I could try. Rebel heal. Who are you? What do you do? Not regen protection. That's what you do. Pretty sure you only heal health. She only heals health. And I think the heal tag really applies. Like Chewbacca heals protection for sure, and he's not in with the tag. Protection, or Drogon as well, yeah. What about you? You're super recent. Yeah, there's just no tag for protection region, I suppose. You are literally just deal damage, man. I don't know why I'm even here. Just to be certain, I guess. Wow. Deal damage, man, says deal damage. Pretty sure you also don't do much. You do slightly, but if you're a free agent, it's probably Saw who would want him. Saw or Leia. It's just too high demand. I mean, he has it on this if he gets called to assist 10 times, but that's such a fucking... Oh, it's also only healing Rebel Fighter allies. Unfortunate. I mean, look, man, I wonder. Rebel allies are over 60% of the protection. Rebel and Imperial allies, all Rebel allies have their current health percentage equalized. Then Rally, Mon Mothma, and all Rebel Fighter. Okay, so it's Rebel Fighter Rally only. Somebody Rebel Trooper. Spell you can only use if all allies are rebel at the start of battle. I mean, they are. Of that you can be certain. She kind of offers banner patching, not in like a particularly insane way, but actually she is for sale. I don't hate it. Rally up Rebel Fighter allies. So yeah, I wouldn't really... Like, you would need to bring on like a Rebel Fighter supporter or some shit, and even at that point we're talking about 5 men, so we're only playing for 65 anyway. Amatha, Captain Han, and Captain Drogon kind of seem like the standouts. And Raditz, I guess, as well, actually kind of hits. And it's not necessarily always being used. Like, this only says 35% max protection, but because you gain protection up first, it tends to be a lot more. Like, if you have a higher health and protection ratio, then I think fairly often it can actually get you to full protection in one go. At least that's what I recall. Take it with a grain of salt. But I feel like it's happened fairly often. CLS does, but it's only for himself, so he doesn't really help bring the squad up. Like, CLS would be nice here just to, like, increase the tempo of the squad by giving us extra control and team turn meter. He would certainly not feel bad, but he does not solve the try to win with a 67 or a 66 angle problem. Yeah, I don't hate it. Obviously, his cooldowns are fucked. And it checks for Rogue One, not just Rebel. But if he really needed, he could just fucking stand there. Do nothing until the match is about to end, slam the give me protection back please button, and like maybe if we're modded for health, that gets us back to full protection banners. Although I guess if we were happening to be missing health, that might be problematic. But it would be so hard to have the team missing health. If the assumption is that you just checkmate them into being perma like ability blocked, that has a hard time happening. If he has the stealth removes. For how the team plays, for what we're presupposing, that's basically impossible. I don't know if I could even think of a single character who has an AoE dispel off of a basic. Like, what this lead is presupposing is kind of insane. It's literally just saying touch Stormtrooper Han once. Whole team can't gain turn meter. It is also ability blocked. So for teams where that matchup hits, is just like, what? It's actually kind of insanely broken if it hits. Yeah, that's why there is the no enemy Galactic Legends clause. Garen fucking teed. Alright. Weirdly enough, that is also actually a possibly competitive team. That possibly has angles to undersize. Wild. It's fairly flexible too. right? Like, you could easily slap Fulcrum in here and probably have an okay time. Literally, you could just run whoever the fuck you want on this team, because if we're presupposing that Stormtrooper Han always has the if you touch me, your entire team gets Terminator removes, which then distracts them, which then ability blocks them. You could literally just run whoever the fuck you want, and it's probably going to be okay. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm glad that I played this game the way I do now. It is such a healthier way to outlook on this game. Holy fuck! If I was like still sticking with the old mentality, this would actually kind of be a Doomer moment. Very interesting. It's a shame the Omicron is tied to threes. What do you mean? I see nothing about requiring 3v3. It just says if you run the 3 characters. In-game it stipulates 3v3. That makes more sense, but also why is it not here then? Wait, do I need to be doing this shit in-game? Is there stuff I possibly missed for the other characters? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. That was a fucking crazy thing to print and just have it be true everywhere. It's still pretty nice in the V3. It's just less of an impact on a 15 size board. Okay, so we wasted time trying to draft extras. That's... Wait, I don't see a 3v3 stipulation. Long gradient arenas and there's an allied Princess Leia Stormtrooper Han into enemy GLs. Is it 3v3? I am in-game at this moment, and I don't see shit. Oh, it says it on the ability level bonus, but not on the final ability text. So which is it actually? It actually might not be 3v3 only. Query battle type 3v3. Okay, so it is. Okay, interesting. So the protection issues are kind of just what they are. Stormtrooper Luke might be the hardest to keep going if you like face a turn 1 AoE, but if it, if you can get the ability blocks out, you might just be chilling. Yeah, they'll be a very competitive team. Well, if they can't undersize, their competitiveness is actually a little bit limited, but it will be strong nonetheless. I imagine they will be able to beat a lot quite well, but it might be for -1. Again, holy fuck. This new way to view the game is so much fucking healthier. This would be an insane Doomer moment. R10 Han? Honestly, probably not. The only reason you would ever R10 Han is to try to save a banner. Or like to try to make it easier for him to stay at full health. Or full protection. Like, Zalbar R10 is considerable because you assume that he is going to have to fight for his life. This team is just like, yeah, they just don't let them play the video game. You put them in front of a team that can't handle ability block and can't like answer this puzzle turn 1. And they're just auto basic for the rest of the game. That's it. Alright. Yeah, it's balanced by the fact that it cannot get full banners and cannot undersize. I mean, maybe it can get full banners, but it will be potentially difficult. We'll see. But yeah, the worst I could do to you is 57. Alright. I'm pretty sure this character is fucking nuts. And I was already pretty confident that she would be the best character out of the set, just from the first time we went through. And she's pretty damn good in Colosseum, and that's without playing with Dad Bod Boba. This character's probably pretty fucking nuts, right? I don't even know if I want to read this. I almost just want to be like, alright, day one. Hit me with some shit. Alright. Leader, do we even give a shit about the lead? She's like very clearly made for Dad Bod. And the leader slot is Boba Fett signed to Django. Fuck that shit. It's probably dog shit. Start battle, all bounty hunters getting critches up and offensive for 2 turns. If all these bounty hunters, whenever to meet business or fight depots, they are dazed. Weirdly enough, that actually might not be like. I could see that bettering someday, but yeah, probably. They are not trying to pretend that it's important. Unique. Asajj has plus 75% max health and max protection and 20% offense. Start battle with the ally on the leader side is Scion. And there are no tank allies. Bounty hunters gain a bonus protection 300% until the end of the encounter. Kind of reminiscent of IG-90. It's the same conversation of, okay, you go tankless, but you're trying to protect your banners by sheer virtue of having a little bit of leeway. Or you could opt to run a tank in this case, but this is in conversation. No, I assume because you are critable, that's why it's 300%. In IG-90's case, you assume that the whole team has 100% or more crit avoidance, so 100% bonus protection kind of hits a little bit differently. Whenever an ally with Disciple is damaged, Ventress gains 10% offense, stacking 50% until the next time she uses her basic ability on her turn. Whenever Ventress starts her turn, allies with a Disciple gain 10% turn meter. Whenever an ally with a Disciple starts their turn, inflict evasion down on enemies for 1 turn, and Ventress gains 10% turn meter. When an ally with a Disciple uses a special ability, inflict a target enemy with protection disruption for 1 turn, which can't be evaded, and Ventress assists. It is resistible. Whenever an ally with Disciple uses their special ability on their turn, 4 turns in a row. I mean, a stat bot, right? They're just assuming AoE, D equals payoff. They get 100% offense until the end of the encounter. Their next ability on their turn inflicts vulnerable to target enemy. Which can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted until the end of... That's crazy. It's just permanent. Hey, guess what, fucko? Get critically hit. Whenever Ventress uses an ability on her turn, allies with Disciple assists. And then, this is what I remember. While in GAC, all bounty hunter allies gain 50% max health and potency. All other non-tank bounty. Whenever enemies attack on a turn, allies with Disciple and Ventress recover 5% health and protection. So this will obviously help patch up the bonus protection to some degree. If it reaches the point where it actually goes down, I don't think this is going to save you. Your best case scenario is that they aim at other people enough that, like, let's say a character falls to 20% protection, you would hope they just aim at somebody else who has shields and you just try to get back to 100 over time with this. This is almost like this feels very much like a Basil situation where, like, you feel comfortable once you have it, or while you have it, but once it's gone, it's just, yeah. You are very likely not finishing with full banners. Deal physical damage to target enemy, inflict vulnerable on them for 2 turns, and stun them for 1 turn. If there's an active ally with Disciple, stun them for 2 turns instead. This will debuffs on Asajj and allies with Disciple, so team cleanse, and they gain 10% crit damage max 100% until the end of the counter for each debuff dispelled this way. Lotto Ramp. Call other allies with Disciple to assists, which she already does whenever she uses an ability on her turn. For everybody who is not a tank. So effectively, if you choose to go the shielding instead of tank route, it is just everybody twice. All other non-tank bounty hunter allies gain disciple until the end of battle. Call everybody twice. This AoE, I mean, it gives disciple, but we assume that we're starting with disciple, right? So on some level, this is kind of TW only. Deal physical damage to all enemies. Grant target ally potency up for 1 turn and inflict armor shred on the target enemy until the end of the encounter. Asajj and target bounty hunter ally gain death penalty for 2 turns. The first time this ability is used on a non-GL bounty hunter allies, grant them disciple. So if you ran a tank, you could give it to a tank, is basically what this is for. I wonder if the AI would try that at all. I suspect it might not, but Asajj gains retribution, whatever. And also worth noting, because everyone starts with Disciple, it's also basically a pre-speed. I wonder if that would also apply to Zam Unique. And immune to ability block. Deal physical damage to target enemy. If that enemy was debuffed, attack again. During Asajj's Ventress, Dark Disciple's turn, gain 7% turn meter and inflict tenacity down on target enemy for 1 turn. Otherwise, gain 12% turn meter and retaliate for 1 turn. Just insane amount of aggression on this squad. It's less technical than the other characters that we've gone into so far. There's less like ability ping-ponging, and it's a lot more just fucking unga-bunga. Slap Zam Omicron on, slap her on, grab Dadbod, probably grab Torlum, maybe grab Fennec, and just go fucking mow people. Go, my son, and mow. Whatever an ally with Disciple starts their turn, Ventress gains 10% turn meter. Yeah, when she takes a turn, everyone gains 10%. When they take turns, she gains 10%. Okay, she was assisting on, like, Stormtrooper Luke. Or no, it was... She's probably attacker, and he was rallying attackers. Yeah, that's why. Okay, that's a Stormtrooper Luke thing more than a her thing. Whenever an ally with Disciple uses a special ability, inflict the target enemy with Protection Disruption for 1 turn, and Ventress assists. Every time Ventress assists, gain 12% turn meter, and they're usually debuffed, so she attacks twice, so gain 24% turn meter. 12% is a very specific number, because they do not want her being able to, like, optimize for cheating out an extra turn, I guess. CG said, you will drop her alpha at 96% and you will like it. Well, wait, no, but wait. No, it's 34, is it not? Okay, no, you can cycle over. Because it's 24 plus 10 for other people taking turns. Yes. Okay, so 3 Disciple allies take a turn, you get a Ventress turn for free, probably. Although, the Overflow, actually, it might not work because she gives them 10%, so, like, if you're... Normally when I run Zam Omicron, I stack people 1 speed next to each other. If you do that, technically, you might overflow them, because she would give out 10% turn meters, so her doing 34 times 3 would not actually put her ahead. This is a clusterfuck, man. It's a lot of words and interactions to roughly lead into, yeah, you're just mass assisting everyone at fucking mowing. Mass assist plus protection disruption plus just absurdity. This shit will happen basically immediately. Reward, ignore taunt. Will be a very dangerous thing to have. Relative Mercy. Call all other non-Geo Darkside Bounty Hunter allies to assist, and if they were support, they assist twice. A bit of a fucked up thing to be doing. If there are no GLs at the start of battle, whenever another bounty hunter ally attacks at a turn, Farlum assists once per turn. As if we didn't have enough assisting already. On his basic. Deal damage to target me 4 times and inflicted with defense down. Yeah, he's just gonna be like, it's the contract. Not insane utility on the basic, but let's see if there's anything else I'm forgetting. There was a potency, assist once per turn. Whatever he attacks an enemy with actually down, he reduces the cooldowns by 1. So it's cooldown cycle at the start of battle. Zuckuss is an ally. Probably not. Whenever an enemy is with corrupted translation has their turn meter manipulated, gains 25% turn meter. I remember doing, yeah, we gain more than mess with them. That I can think of. It's more just saying if they have a corrupted translation that they gain turn meter, I guess. But again, it doesn't really facilitate that. If anything, she defacilitates that because fucking they're just gonna murder everyone hopefully before they can do anything. Yep. Patch up banners, patch up your bonus protection. Pretty straightforward value. You almost always be leaning off of this first. Yeah, decent value. Zuckuss being a tank. I mean, maybe there will be matches where it makes sense for you to run him, but I suspect that we actually will not be doing that much. Maybe he's more for like TW, I'd imagine. Seems likely. Alright, Barris, how are we doing on time? 2 hours, 18 minutes. We're actually doing okay. It was a long first one, but we're doing alright. Inquisitor Barris. The one thing I can tell you is she blocks Riva from reviving, and that was a downer. But let's see. Inquisitorius. Wait, I start later. Allies and enemies cannot be revived. Whenever Inquisitorius ally is critically hit, that ally recovers 10% health protection, and that enemy gains a stack of purge until the end of the encounter. The one immediate knee-jerk reaction that I have to this is that Riva, as I recall, does not have the stat profile of a tank. Or at least her relic gains were that of an attacker, not a tank. Like, it's true for R9, and I'm pretty sure it's true for R10. So the whole idea of, hey, yeah, Riva, you're staking your bet that Riva will be able to tank everything out is not necessarily a guaranteed bet to stake. Like, maybe she's gesturing at wanting to bring on Nine Sister or something like that. I just, yeah, it makes me nervous. While not distancing, allied second sister Inquisitor Barris have 2% defense with tenacity, and allied Inquisitor Barris is immune to daze and stun. No, it's not nothing. Whenever an enemy has enemy number buffs dispelled, Inquisitor Barris gains 10% turn meter. Start a battle if all allies minimum 3 are Inquisitorius. This character gains 20% max health, max protection, and potency. Whenever another ally is critically hit by an enemy, this character has a 20% chance to gain 100% turn meter, limit once per turn. Whenever an Inquisitorious ally damages an enemy with Purge, this character assists. That sounds like it can happen more than once per turn. I wonder if that's true. Like, does 7th assist cause a 2nd assists? Under a Purge is consumed or dispelled on enemy, this character gains 3% Terminator. Yeah, she's basically just a paradigm shift for Inquisitors. Like, she's trying to add more assists, she's trying to add a second reactive character. Still kind of unfortunate that it's the same situation as Seven Sister, where, like, hey, if you enjoyed Millennium Falcon basic RNG at 50%, how about 2 characters at 20%? Roll them dice. I can tell you I have had fights in the past where I have lost a battle that cost me an entire GSC because Seven Sister was just asleep at the wheel. I would not call that experience ideal. Flicker the Light, dispel all debuffs on UFU allies, and they have their current health percentages equalized. All UFU allies recover 10% health and protection. Recover an additional 5% health and protection for each stack of purrs that has been consumed by Inquisitorious allies or resisted by enemies in this battle, max 50%. I mean, 70% protection for banner regen is not shabby. 4-turn cooldown, possibly cycling if she gets a lot of extra turns. Inquisitor Barris grants 20% of her crit damage stacking to allied Inquisitorious attackers until the end of battle. I think it's basic feeds into special, right? So, basic, deal special damage to target enemy and inflict them with a stack of Purge until the end of the encounter. Resistible. UFU allies recover 5% health and protection. Okay. Per assist, that's not bad either. Gain 5 Siphon, which can't be dispelled until the end of the encounter. And then with that Siphon, Force Scriptor, 3-turn cooldown, dispel all buffs, and deal special damage to all enemies. Inflict buff enemy for 2 turns on target enemy and siphon crit damage from them. Resistible. If target enemy had 6 acts of Purge, buff enemy can't be resisted. Aha. And lower the cooldown of Flicker of the Light by 1. Aha. I mean, this seems like a bid to try to make Inquisitors a bit more respectable. I am still a little bit nervous because Inquisitors have a bit of a paper tiger issue where they can be very aggressive and do a lot of burst, but like if you just do not get out Seven Sister Crit Immunity at the right time, you kind of just get fucking cooked. And I don't know that 10% health and protection regen whenever an Inquisitorious ally is critically hit is gonna save you from that fate. Like, if we're talking about Inquisitors versus Leia, I have memories of, like, GI just gets fucking chunked down to, like, 20 or 30% health. And I don't think that this is necessarily saving him from that. Now, this will mean that he has extra health support as well. So, like, maybe... And all the extra assists and health support. Like, maybe there's an out, but I think GI, as I recall, is also very fucking fragile. 60-62 is not bad. 54 or 53.5% base armor is not that bad either. Not nearly like a Revan situation, I don't think, if we compare. $57.29 at R9, 61.35, armor 45. Yeah, it's not a Revan situation, but it's still like, I don't know, it feels like my GI tends to get pressured fucking all the time in Leia. Like, I don't know if he's actually priority target or not, but he might as well be. Yeah, I have an open mind here. Like, maybe, obviously, the protection regen potential is there to try to let Inquisitors. And it does say, like, do Inquisitors have undersized potential? It's really just saying if all allies are Inquisitorious, it's already battle. I don't see any 5 checks yet. So yeah, it's possible maybe like Riva, GI, 7th, plus Barris could be an attempted value play. But I think we're okay. I don't think it's a penalty for undersizing. Yeah, my Inquisitors are pretty... Like, there's a lot of them at R7 or R8. Like, I'm still locked out of some of the TB shit. They will probably need some polish as we lead up to this. Is it weird to say that I'm a little bit more skeptical about Inquisitors than any other team that I've read so far? I mean, Inquisitors are more proven than something like Wookiees. But at the same time, Wookiees just sound... Like, if I put Wookiees into a certain situation, I know what their strengths are, and I know where they are low risk and where they are high risk. This just sounds like a little bit more washy. The fuck is this? Man. Good plug and play with Ufu? Kind of. I mean, Sierra is always on the market that I'm sure she wouldn't hurt. I mean, how's her damage? Special damage, I assume her pen is shit. Her pen is shit. Yeah, not the craziest ratios. We're just talking, like, you just hope that you stack up enough crit damage eventually, that just doesn't matter. Alright, DVDE. Yeah, overall. My feeling on her back in the day was you're just gonna default her into Riva, probably. I don't think that's really changed, but, I mean, acknowledging that maybe Riva can have undersized potential and will have a much higher chance of finishing a fight with, like, full protection banners. That's not all thing, right? Cheers to that. DVD, the character I am the most skeptical of and still feel as such. Start of battle, DVD loses 51% health and it is inflicted with burning until the end of battle, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Vader can't be defeated by this burning, is immune to other burning effects, and takes reduced damage from percent health effects. If there are no GLs at the start of battle, whenever Vader takes burning damage, all Empire allies gain 200% or 20% offense, stacking at max 300% until the end of the battle and 10% Terminator. This effect persists through defeat. If Vader ends his turn with 25% or more health, all Empire allies gain potency up. If he ends his turn with 75% less health, all Empire allies gain defense up. The start of battle, if Emperor Palpatine is the ally in the leader slot, Vader gains hatred until he is defeated, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented, and assists when EP uses a special during his turn, and whenever EP assists during another ally's turn. If Vader is revived while EP is the active ally in the leader slot, Vader regains hatred at the end of that turn, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. While in GAC, at the start of battle, if there are no GLs and EP is in the allied lead slot, all Empire allies gain hatred until they are defeated, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Whenever an Empire tank loses taunt, they are marked for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted, and recover 30% max health protection. Vader gains 4 speed, stacking max 80 until the end of the battle whenever an Empire ally targets a debuffed enemy with an ability, takes damage from an enemy ability while debuffed, or scores a critical hit. I'm just going to keep going until something stops me. The start animation counter, whenever he takes burning damage or when he uses an ability, Vader duels end gains 1 stack of vengeance until the end of the battle or until he is defeated. I do not recall what vengeance does. Is it introduced? I feel like we do at one point. Isn't that like the assault battle Sith mechanic? When Vader loses 15 stacks of vengeance or more, he gains 2 additional bonus turns. The next time he damages an enemy, the target enemy is death marked until the end of Vader's bonus turn or Vader is defeated. Vader can ignore taunt effects during his turn. Whenever Vader uses a special ability, the target enemy is inflicted with a stack of damage over time for 1 turn, which can't be evaded. This ability inflicts an additional stack if the target enemy is Galactic Republic, including stories of Jedi, and another additional stack if it is Anakin Skywalker. At the start of battle, there's an enemy Anakin Skywalker. They're inflicted with demoralized for the rest of the battle, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, prevented, or resisted. And if they are in the enemy lead slot, all Empire allies are immune to daze for the rest of the battle. Okay. If all allies are Empire at the start of battle, Vader gains 50% crit damage, immune to fear and Terminator. Sure. Okay. I'm just gonna try to recontextualize this. I'll be honest, my eyes were kind of glazing over it, so I was... Yeah, okay. If all as Empire side battle, blah blah blah, sure. Anything else? Okay. I was pretty cold on this character at first. The thing I will say is that there are players in this game who love to specialize in cheesing setups. And Empire are historically a squad that hardcore specialize in that. EP lead especially, certainly. This character does nothing to help them do that. But in the same vein, like any... I mean, fucking, like, support run, right? I'm sure that support run might actually just give EP lead starting turn meter. Like, my chief complaint when DVDE showed up and came out is he does nothing to help his team get started. But if you don't need help getting the team started, he's basically the closer. So to that end, so what is going on with... So is it just saying... he just gains vengeance until he's defeated, and if he happens to be defeated and revives, he gets 2 immediate bonus turns? Vengeance is tied dagger breath. That's what it was. Dagger. At 15 stacks, dispel debuffs on all Sith allies, gain a bonus turn, then lose all stacks. Okay, whenever he takes burning damage or when he uses the ability. Yeah, I mean, the character is fairly unsubtle. He is basically just... he is the reward for theory crafting Empire, I guess. Which I still... See, the problem is, I would still argue that I don't think the Empire really needed help doing this. Like, I don't recall either, like, maybe Palpatine lead. I don't remember Palpatine lead benefit, like... is afflicted with burning. Does that count as, like, a self-proc? So does he just, like, preload 20% from EP lead? Is something I don't remember. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know. I have messed around with EP lead and on Starkiller more than I think a lot of people have in the last few years. The team is the ultimate paper tiger. Right? And, like, yeah, we have some slight reassurances of, like, if you bring Shore Trooper and Shore Trooper gets dispelled, it gets turned into Mark, that's cute and fun and all. But yeah, we are still kind of in the vein of either you would need to hunt for a cheese solution, and then this character will A, either help you close out, or I guess B, the elevator pitch would be that he would try to help you close out teams that maybe you could normally find a cheese to like work against it, but you can't normally like beat it as easily, I guess would be the angle. Yeah, we will see. I think this is probably the messiest character of the bunch. Not necessarily the weakest. But also, like, the tank generates protection whenever they lose taunts, while the rest of the Empire is just on the hook for it. Like, he gains, and that can kind of get him back to max, but banner-wise, the team could be messy. Like, Thrawn can regen some, but it should takes a lot of time. She, I think, with Loyal Hand. Yeah, like, she could maybe stack a protection and try to get back to full that way. Yeah. The whole cheesing thing is kind of a... It was never really something I enjoyed in this game. I mean, not necessarily saying that it's fair, but I always kind of looked at it as like a less legitimate part of the game, or just like kind of sapping some of the fun out of it. I think, again, for how I view the game now, I probably have a healthier outlook on it, but it's still a hell of a fucking mental hurdle to get over, let alone actually start wanting to do some of that theory of crafting. Yeah, he only recover as protection to troopers, not necessarily all Empire. I don't think you do. Yeah, the lead does, but I don't think we're really in the market. Yeah, Zadrid. Well, in GZ, I think literally the whole team has Zadrid. Where is it? Yeah, all Empire allies recover 50% of the protection until you use the ability nodes turn against a different target. I could maybe try if you're willing the costs. This does not heal. It was just turned into a heal by DTM Julian. It does get protection up, potentially, but... Yeah, I imagine a lot of this is just going to be either Mara Magma, hope for good RNG on the Demon Rule Grenade, or it'll be like matchups where OG Darth Vader could just try to go first and give you some EP lead Terminator Star that way. Or it's going to be cheese stuff to help you get in. Or possibly if EP lead lets DVD preload. Yeah, I don't know. This character does not really feel transformative to me. He's just a win condition. He is a reward for trying to theory of crafts with Empire, more or less. We'll see. CG's trying to make a market here. They're trying to say, hey, instead of forgetting about this team, what if? But like you think about 3v3, it's like, what are you doing? EP, Mara, DVD? Probably not. Again, like I don't know if well she doesn't do loyal pawn or useful pawn to non-EP lead. I don't know, again, the team just has trouble getting off the ground. That unless DVD preloads, I'm not really sure. Like at that point, you're just staking a gamble to like, well, everyone starts with hatred at the start of battle, so maybe it'll just be fine if you just die once. And that's, I mean, that's not nothing, but that feels so fucking uncomfortable to me. The idea of just like, yeah, our game plan is we're gonna get washed at first, and maybe it'll probably be fun. I hate it. I kind of hate it. I mean, maybe you would just be like EP, Shore Trooper, DVD. I mean, there's no real rule that you can't go like a plug and play either, I suppose. At least not that I can recall. So, I mean, Starkiller was the one who said those rules. Yeah, I mean, you want benefit, of course, but like, that's not a rule that you cannot be there or bring it. So, I mean, Watt would possibly be in the picture, stuff like that. Okay, like, it's an open play space. It's just not a sector of the game I've normally tried to mess with or wanted to mess with. Given the previous track record, I would assume he will probably be able to find a matchup or a Datacron. Like again, like maybe Sporcron is just like easy preload, right? Betting against Empire being able to figure out some sort of cheese to get going is usually a losing bet. And then yeah, it might be a lifter for Mara, Omicron, and TW. Which again, Mara Omicron doesn't really struggle to kill stuff, in my experience. Kind of just does fine. But he will present a sledgehammer that will maybe help kill some harder, more resilient stuff. So we will see. And if the double fracture is scary, yeah, but it's random. Like, imagine if you were fighting JMK in 3v3, and it was a 50-50 between, okay, you can fracture Ket, or you can fracture the GL. That's an extreme example, of course, but, like, there are other matchups that could be just as damning, right? Imagine if you were fighting Satele Shen. And you had a 50-50 to fracture Jedi Revan, who was going to fucking murder you, Or the other guy. It was probably Baz Lashan, who was going to do jack shit to you. It is what it is. I hope the character is fun. I need to get the fuck over it and grow as a player and be open to using these types of teams when it makes sense. So, but yeah, it is crazy to me. I think that this is, as we're wrapping up on the sixth character, I think that this is the character who is still most true to my original opinion. Like this, it's crazy to me that this is a character who is kind of printed with cheesing in mind. Is how it looks or feels to me. It does not give you a game plan. It just says, look, you fucks have always figured out shit with this in the past. Go figure something out. Go have fun. Yeah, we'll see. Like, this character is going to be hypersensitive to cron meta, hypersensitive to boards being placed. It's a lot. There's a lot to take in. But yeah, alright. I think we call it there. Hey, all in all, this was a lot more than I thought it would be. For a lot more teams than I thought it would be. Stormtrooper Luke. I'm actually kind of glad that it's restricted to 3v3. Yeah, that seems going to be pretty fucking impressive, actually. Impressive, but again, not very competitive on banners. The team is just going to hard grief some people on defense, though. So I guess that will be a bit amusing to see. I don't think you should post it on defense, but I think there are going to be some people who do post it on defense, and there are going to be some people who don't read kits. And those people are just going to get perma ability blocked. And that will be some unfortunate stuff to read the aftermath of. IG90. Actually feeling pretty good about now. The whole Hondo draft, that just sounds pretty alright. That team sounds solid. Wookiees, I do think they could actually get in. I'm not necessarily going to be using them every GAC, but there will be GACs where I think they feel just fine. It's very much, I think, just about how effectively they can lean in on Zalwar. But yeah, I would not be surprised if, like, some shit like Queen Amidala looks within reach. Asajj, clearly nuts. Inquisitor Barriss, solid. Maybe the return of Inquisitors in consideration more often possibly opens up room to 66. Not terrible. And DVD. We shall see. All in all, I mean, Stormtrooper Luke, I guess, will be on Leia duty in 5v5, but all in all, it feels like we are moving towards an era of the game where we are building out a toolkit on offense that you don't use everything every single time, but we can possibly try to put cheese players in checkmate just by having diverse enough options that, like, kind of no matter what they come at us with, we can just reach for that tool. And, like, weirdly enough, if our tool set is complete enough, it actually might allow Queen Amidala and Saw to go back on defense just by sheer virtue of you just don't need them. Now, granted, I don't know if I really feel Saw and QA on defense just aren't what they used to be, but I would feel better having them on defense than not, I guess. It's either that or we start limit testing them upwards and get more GLs on defense. That would be the future that I would prefer, actually. Because GLs on defense I feel a hell of a lot better about. Like, Saw Gerrera on defense is just so fucking fake now. Balin 67 is just the freest shit. Like, I played it 3 days ago, I think, and it was like the soccer, I got like one turn off. It is what it is. But yeah, cool. All right. I am actually looking forward to this Isolation End. Not just for Maul anymore. There will be some cool stuff to try. A lot of projects to work on, actually, weirdly enough, so... I don't remember exactly when Isolation ends, but I imagine it will be at least between 3v3 and 5v5, right? So, over this coming week, it actually might behoove us to prep 5v5 early, which is a thing I've never done before. But A, there's shit to fix that I would like to fix now before I move on to the 3v3 season, and B, we should take what we thought about tonight and possibly get ready for the 5v5 season. Crazy. Alright. Thanks for hanging out. Looking forward to it. Good shit. This was a more successful stream than I expected. Good luck out there. Enjoy the off season. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be well. Stay safe. Peace.